Thank you for visiting, and welcome to our little corner of magic.
Jean's fingers curled tight around the rough strap of her bag. She could still hear her mum's voice in her head, half worried, half proud as they said goodbye. Callum Grifflet had little to say, only placing a small polished stone in her palm before disappearing into the misty trail. "For clarity," he said, "you'll need it more than most."
Jean's first day at NorthVale Academy of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Part 2. Jean's boots sank into the mossy ground as she stood at the edge, the worn steps leading to the gate of NorthVale Academy. The school stood like it had grown from the ancient rock, twisting towers of grey granite, ivy clinging to every ledge, its windows glowing dimly with candlelight. Magic throbbed in the air here, old and watchful. An old woman in slate-blue robes stood at the archway. "Jean Grifflet?" she asked. Jean nodded stiffly. She hated the way her stomach twisted with nerves. "Come, the reflection pool ritual has already begun." Jean clutched the strap of her leather satchel tightly. Her boots, still muddy from the hike through the surrounding forest path, felt too big in her feet. She had arrived late. Her mother had insisted on giving a long goodbye, and the enchanted carriage had broken down halfway up the pass. She missed orientation and the first feast. Now she stood alone. Jean's first day at NorthVale. Part 3. The Reflection Pool. Jean wasn't sure what she expected of this place. All she knew that it was far from her mother's cottage, far from the jeering Muggle children who'd tease her for the strange things that always happened around her. It was far from the dreams, those cursed visions that kept her awake at night. Here, perhaps she might find answers, or at least peace. The mysterious woman in the slate-blue robes led her through a long corridor with floating fireballs of flickering flames, again into a lit courtyard where a silver pool shimmered. A figure approached quietly behind her, cloaked in silver-blue robes. Professor Alhina, the divination's mistress. Her voice gentle. "You're Jean Grifflet?" Jean nodded without turning. "The reflection pool," the professor said. "It shows you where you belong." Jean stepped forward. The water shimmered. As she stared into its glassy surface, she saw herself. Then her reflection flickered, split in two. One self stood cloaked in indigo, a crystal pendant at her throat. Etherwyn. The other stood clad in deep forest green, a hawk perched on her shoulder. Thornamere. The vision blurred. When ripples stilled, it was the indigo-cloaked version of herself that remained. "Aerthirwine?" Professor Alhina confirmed with a small smile. "But Thornamere leaves its mark. How interesting." Jean said nothing, but a knot inside her chest loosened slightly. She wasn't a stray anymore.
That night, Jean sat alone on her narrow bed in the Aetherwine dormitory, staring out the tall window. The moonlight stretched across the floor like a promise. She didn't cry, not even once. She didn't miss the Muggle school or the children that taunted her for being different. But she did miss her mother's voice, and she did wonder if her father had known how hard this would be. Jean pulled out a small mirror and placed it on her nightstand. A clipping from the Daily Prophet was carefully folded beneath it. A photo of Severus Snape during the war. Expression unreadable, his wand at the ready. She looked at it now, whispered, "Someday." And with that word, she lay back, staring at the canopy above her bed. The sounds of old magic whispered in the dark, already shaping her into something that the world wasn't ready for.